Hello everyone, I would first like to preface this with I am very sick right now, as you could probably tell, slowly recovering, so please bear with me and be patient with that. Hopefully I would have been able to recover in the next few videos. If not, I'll still try to keep pumping out content for you guys. But with that out of the way, let's go on with the topic of the video, which is how powerful is the daughter of the second strongest shinobi and Boruto's master Sasuke Uchiha, and the future Eito Kage of the Hidden Leaf Village, Sarada Uchiha. Now, ever since the early days of part 1, we have been getting statements and implications of the potential and strength of Boruto and Sarada, with their respective fathers comparing both of them to when they were much younger, stating on multiple occasions that Sarada and Boruto are way stronger than they were at that age, and that they are probably soon to surpass them within the near future. Sasuke even going as far as to tell Boruto that he is going to train him just to do that because he thinks Boruto has the potential to surpass his father. Following that same logic, Mitsuki and Sarada also prepare to grow exponentially more powerful since they are handling Otsutsuki level threats. They realize that they're going to have the resolve and power necessary to deal with them in the near future. And Sarada, of course, just having far more potential than Sasuke, it just logically follows that she would just be far more powerful in the future. This is further backed up within the novel. Boruto and Sarada, when they're sparring or fighting each other, they're stated to be surpassing the levels of Jonin levels of power even when they're 12 or Genin. This was only really replicatable with Naruto and Sasuke after a bunch of outside power boosts such as the Curse Mark and Nine Tails Chakra mode, which of course Sarada and Boruto don't have anything like that, at least yet, because this is before Boruto accesses the Karma and before Sarada really gets a strong Sharingan. But you may be asking, yes, they've been stated to have this potential. They've been stated that they're probably going to surpass their fathers with all the training and guidance of the prior generation, but you probably need more to really just reel you in and convince you that this is actually doable and this will actually happen. Why are they this strong? Why do they have this potential? Well, that's pretty much explained within Naruto. We know when someone has a child or a child is conceived with two parents, how that new chakra pool is born is with the chakra pools of the two parents. Sarada and Boruto just so happen to have some of the strongest parents that the ninja world has ever seen, because coming from the prior strongest generation, it just comes natural. I mean, Sasuke and Naruto have 6 paths chakra. They also have chakra from being the Indra and Ashura reincarnates, along with Naruto having the 9 tails within inside of him, and Hinata being the Byakugan princess. Sakura Haruno is also very powerful and impressive, even though she does not come from one of the big families such as the Uchiha, Uzumaki, or Hyuga clan. She's still able to put up fights with Akatsuki members, Jubi clones, and even able to punch Kaguya at the end of Naruto Shippuden. So you begin to kind of see why Sarada and Boruto kind of have an edge on all the other kids and other shinobis. It's just because their parents had 6 paths chakra or tailed beast chakra. I mean, Sasuke has a Rinnegan, for God's sake. That alone should tell you that they were going to surpass the prior generation, even without the narrative that Naruto Shippuden introduced with the next generation always surpasses the last. We just knew that Sarada and Boruto specifically would do that. Because unlike Sasuke and Naruto, even though they are reincarnates of Ashura and Indra, both of their parents never had 6 paths chakra, both of their parents never had Rinnegan chakra, both of their parents were never linked to the Otsutsuki like they are. So I would even go as far as to say Sarada and Boruto just have more powerful chakra at a base level than Naruto and Sasuke could have ever had within their lives. No Curse Mark amp or Nine Tails amp could have granted them the same boost in potential that 6 paths chakra would have done. So without me boring you with more explanation on how chakra works and how chakra pools are created within Naruto, just understand like the end goal or the end reaction is that Sarada and Boruto have not only stronger chakra pools than Naruto and Sasuke could have ever had due to the 6 paths influence, but that would then in return grant a higher potential than Naruto and Sasuke should have ever had. But that alone doesn't just make you strong with no training or no living up to the potential. All of that is impressive, but that is not the height of her power. We begin to really see how powerful Sarada is when she does battle with Ao. Now, Ao is someone who was a Kage guard in Naruto, but now is souped up with super powerful scientific ninja tool enhancements, which makes this crazy because it means that he was already strong enough to be a guard of the Kage prior to the Boruto era, and now being far stronger with the scientific enhancements shows you that Sarada at 12 years old was already surpassing anything that Naruto and Sasuke had did in part 1. That's also ignoring how in part 1, unlike Sarada, Sasuke had access to the Curse Mark and Naruto had access to the Nine Tails. Sarada does not have a Curse Mark or the Nine Tails. This is all just her own potential and power. This gets demonstrated outright when she is able to fight and outperform Boruto Boruto and Kawaki in the Boro fight, while even they have the Karma activated. Now, if you don't know, Karma is basically the Otsutsuki backup file and grants you the power of the Otsutsukis outright. So her, while in her Sharingan 3 Tomoe state, being able to outdo Otsutsuki power is already something I just don't see part 1 Naruto or Sasuke doing. But she just doesn't outperform Boruto and Kawaki while they have their Otsutsuki power amp helping them. She is actively blitzing this Kara Inner, and in Boro's opinion, it's too fast for him to even react. But you may be thinking of another question. Why is that good? Why is that impressive? Well, it's impressive for a few reasons. The first reason being Boro was already stronger than all of Team 7. This is even including the Karma forms of Boruto and Kawaki, and he could only really be dealt with finally when Momoshiki took over Boruto, also getting aided with Naruto's chakra. Another reason is just how Kara Inner should scale. Let me explain. So Jigen has a group of people who are all supposed to aid him in his goal of acquiring a vessel and chakra fruit. They also have studied Naruto and the Shinobi world, so they are ready for threats that are both present and have been before. What this means is that if Jigen is truly a smart leader, which we know he just is, he plans for pretty much everything that's going to happen to him, he would be building a team of people that are not only able to handle threats that were previously in the Shinobi world, but able to handle threats like Naruto, Sasuke, and all the other Kage from all the other villages. Now, let me say this before anyone just jumps to conclusions. I am not saying by virtue of that everyone just scales above Naruto and Sasuke, because that is just shown to not be true. But what that is telling you is that even if they are weaker than Naruto and Sasuke, they should scale above the majority of people in the Shinobi world for this to be an actual plan that's viable and a plan that's able to be put forth. Or else Jigen wouldn't have to build a team at all if random people could just come up and just one-shot all of them. Something that kind of supports this is a scan that says each Kara Inner is stated to have war potential on par with the Hokage or Naruto. We can begin to kind of form where logically they should scale based on this alone. Boro, for example, who Sarada is faster than and could damage and can just blitz, while not being as durable and as powerful as Naruto or probably some of the heavy hitters like Sasuke or even Delta and Koji, should have the speed and regen capable of battling very strong people like those who I've mentioned, or else he wouldn't be strong enough to be an inner. He wouldn't have war potential on par with the Hokage, and any random shinobi would just be able to come up, destroy his core, and blitz him before he can regen. Sarada at 12 years old with the 3 Tomoe Sharingan while low on chakra, being able to blitz and one-shot his core just becomes that much more impressive. Now after this, Sarada kind of becomes stagnant. Her and Mitsuki start to acknowledge that they have to reach these Otsutsuki levels and surpass those Otsutsuki levels if they want to be helpful within the future and if she wants to become Hokage, but she really doesn't have enough time to do any of that because she's only 12 years old and all of this happens within the span of a few months. Code shows up, Ishiki shows up, then she has to spy on Ida and Damon. So she is really just stuck with this resolve for a while. That is until she awakens the Mangekyo due to the tragic fate of losing the Hokage, losing Boruto, and her whole worldview being flipped upside down and forcing her father to have to take Boruto and go into hiding. She awakens the Mangekyo Sharingan. Then Boruto part 1 just ends. We think that, oh, probably not gonna see her Mangekyo Sharingan for a while. That is until the time skip. Now the first chapter of the time skip doesn't really give us anything. It just shows that she can now do Chidori and Fire Style back to back with seemingly not being tired at all or not needing the hand signs for the Chidori, and that when Code shows up, while she is kind of just surprised that he's there and she's sweating a little bit, she still doesn't even go into her 3 Tomoe state, and she doesn't seem to be that scared. Before she can even fight Code or do something, Boruto appears and steps on Code's face, seemingly saving her from getting defeated. At least that's what everyone thought. But what should have gave this away is the way she was speaking to Code. It wasn't like, oh, a plead for help or, oh, that I'm scared and I gotta watch what I say. It was more or less, oh, leave the village. I don't want any issues. I don't really want to fight. I'm just doing my job. It left us with a bunch of questions like, would Code have just defeated her? Would she have been able to put up a good fight against Code? Or was she just always relying on Boruto and Kawaki? Well, we didn't have to wait long because those questions got answered in the coming chapters. Once we got to chapter 4, we learned that Hidari, the Claw Grime Shinju, that was stated to be too much for Code to handle or stronger than Code, the same person that clashed with Boruto's Rasengan while Boruto was trying because, you know, he kind of put the planet's fate in his hands and he was about to throw away the mission just to try to kill Hidari. If he wasn't trying for that, it would just kind of be illogical. People are saying Boruto was holding back. It just doesn't make sense. But back to the actual feat, he was able to cancel out Boruto's Rasengan, which means that they put about the same amount of effort into those attacks. If not, Hidari putting more effort because the Chidori is just an inherently weaker jutsu than the Rasengan. That on top of the statement of granting him stronger than code status, like Boruto had previously gotten when he defeated Code within chapter 3, Hidari was looking to be a gigantic threat. I mean, power on par or higher than Boruto, him being able to scare off Code and Code not being able to handle him anymore. It was looking like if he was truly going against Sarada, she had no hope at all. But people often forget that we had never seen Sarada's full power, and we had at this point just been assuming that she's weaker or way weaker than all of the people that we named prior. Which is why in chapter 10 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, when Hidari tried to blitz her with the instantaneous claw grind and the Chidori amp, which basically speeds you up so much so to where you have tunnel vision, and only having the Sharingan or Dojutsu could kind of mitigate this effect, wasn't enough to even catch her off guard and blitz her. She not only was able to react and dodge, she was able to activate her Sharingan and respond with a Chidori of her own without hand signs grazing the side of his stomach. This did minimal damage, but it still damaged him, and it still was enough to outspeed him. All in one fell swoop, she got combat speed, reaction speed, and AP surpassing anything that we had previously. So all of those ambiguous feats, ambiguous scalings, ambiguous statements that we had, oh, maybe she's on this level, maybe she's not, just gets confirmed and blown out of the water. She is now living up to what's previously established in the narrative that she has more potential than probably Naruto and Sasuke, with her surpassing Code and surpassing everything that we've seen in Boruto Part 1. This is due to not only her emotions probably amping her Sharingan, but due to just her training over the 3 years to combat threats like this and save Boruto and become the Hokage. Something that was foreshadowed within the Boruto Part 1, with her and Mitsuki saying they needed the resolve and power necessary to beat these threats. Now, when this was first revealed to us, they had a lot of people just going on about how this is inconsistent, doesn't make sense. But what would only not make sense is if she wasn't this powerful. Because like I said, all the seeds were planted in part 1 of her having more potential than Sasuke and Naruto, and her also having the resolve to surpass these Otsutsuki level threats. This further backed up by how much emotion she has been building up during the 3 years. Of course, the reaction would be far more explosive than what we had thought. And people who often have gripes like this about power scaling and power cliffing in Boruto, you can check out my power cliffing in Boruto video that I made previously. I'll link it in the description below. But even though I explained it in much more detail over there, I'll just give you a quick little explanation right now. People have this misconception that power comes solely from the amps that you receive, and if you are receiving an amp like the Nine Tails or the Three Tomoe Sharingan, you cannot be at a certain level because Sasuke and Naruto wasn't at a certain level. That's not how power in Naruto works at all. Power in Naruto is based on your base stats, the amps you receive later, the training you go through, and also your resolve and potential. Her base stats being something that we can't put a number on, therefore it can't say it's bad power cliffing or bad power scaling. On top of her multiplicative amps and resolve amps and emotion amps, all while having higher potential than Naruto and Sasuke, while also having the chakra that Sasuke possessed already, I would be surprised if she wasn't strong as Sasuke. It would go against every pre-established notion within Naruto and power scaling if she was just way weaker than Sasuke or wasn't on his level. People are also like to bring up, oh, Sasuke and Naruto had to die, they had to go through all of this, you know, they had to basically get reincarnated of the Sons of God. So they got reincarnated as the Sons of God, and she got that chakra by virtue of being his daughter. Just as simple as that. It all goes back to base stats getting multiplied and amplified by the potential, resolve, and emotions. People need to stop thinking of amps as additive and start thinking of them as multiplicative. Because, as an example, if you take Naruto and you give him the Nine Tails, he won't be as strong as, let's say, Ishiki. If you take Goku and give him the Nine Tails, he will far surpass Ishiki because even though the Nine Tails is not that big of a boost normally, if it's multiplying his already powerful base that was already surpassing Ishiki, him with the Nine Tails sealed inside of him would still just be stronger than Ishiki, no matter how small the ant was. Which right there should tell you that the base is what matters the most, and Goku just having a higher ceiling and higher potential than anyone in Naruto. With that being said, I will say for right now, I do have her being stronger than every single Uchiha we've seen thus far. This is, of course, foreshadowed in Boruto and makes sense due to how just power works in the Naruto universe, and is very consistent with the narrative established in Naruto and Boruto, and by Sasuke and by Naruto. If you disagree with this, or if you have any gripes with this, you just aren't well versed in Naruto and you're just having a gripe to be biased. This perfectly makes sense, and anything you call bad about this just can't be justified. I also see her being probably stronger than, with her MS or 3 Tomoe, whatever you want to say, stronger than base Kawaki and possibly base Boruto. If not stronger than base Boruto though, she's definitely around those base Boruto levels because again, they've basically performed the same feats up until now. Now, of course, none of this is concrete because when you're scaling an ongoing series, it's always up to change, right? We can be wrong, we can be faulty, we don't have complete knowledge on the series, but what makes power scaling good isn't about what's right or wrong, even though that's a part of it. It's about what you use to come to that conclusion. Anyone who says the narrative disagrees with this also just hasn't read Naruto or Boruto. People like to just put Boruto above every new threat and every person solely because he's the MC and solely because he beat Code. But outside of beating Code while holding back, he has no other feats that are better than Sarada's, at least right now. Of course, in my personal opinion, I think Boruto is stronger than Sarada, but he can't control his karma powers, and for right now, up to chapter 10, we have nothing in the narrative or power scaling or feats wise to say that. With that being said though, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you have any gripes or questions about this video, or if you even want to debate or talk it out, I'll have my server linked in the bio. We can come there and discuss if you want. But yeah, still slowly recovering from this cold, and more videos in the future. Still, again, trying to recover from the sickness. It sucks scripting and recording a video while just having to pause because of coughing and a fever, but we ball. With that being said, goodbye.